Good evening, everybody. It is 6:03 p.m. This is the regular business meeting of the Smithfield Township Board of Supervisors. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Members present include myself, Chair Jacob Pride, Vice Chair Robert Levenheim via Zoom, Supervisor Michael Albert, Township Manager Julia Heilicke, Administrative Coordinator Jessica Hodge, Conservation and Recreation Director Dr. Alex Jackson, Engineer John Tressler, and Solicitor Ron Claresack. Okay, announcements. There's an executive session this evening from 5:30 p.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. regarding security matters and litigation in the M. Manor, Carroll, Vecchio, and Water Gap cases, as well as with regard to strategy and collective bargaining. There's an executive session held from 11:30 a.m. to 1:44 p.m. on September 12th regarding security matters and litigation. Okay, fall pickup the Poconos, as you know, is Friday, October 10th. Fawn Road, meet up here. Alex can handle signups on that. Jessica will do the same for the Trunk or Treat and Fall Fest, October 25th, here at the Municipal Center. First order of business, the consent agenda, which includes consideration to approve the August 26, 2025 regular meeting minutes, the August 27, 2025 special meeting minutes, the September 9th, 2025 regular meeting minutes, ratification of the special event permit for Liberty Tree Ranch Apple Cider Festival, the appointment of Dr. Michael Iavicini to the Environmental Advisory Council term ending January 4th, 2027. Consideration to appoint Todd Daly to the Environmental Advisory Council Associate Membership term ending January 4th, 2026. Consideration to authorize the advertisement of the zoning map clerical amendment from the prior meeting. The approval of resolutions 597, 598, 599, and 600 for LSA grant applications. The Marsh Creek Fire Company, Monroe County Firemen's Association, Delaware Water Gap Fire Department, and the Township, as well as our match commitment letter. Consideration to approve resolution number 601, disposition of records. The consideration to approve the September 23rd, 2023 bill pack totaling $216,771.81 amongst the general fund and the professional escrow fund, and the consideration to approve the land development stormwater agreements for Eagle Valley self-storage land development plan. Do I hear a motion on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Mr. Levenheim, second by Mr. Albert. Discussion.
You should know, Mr. Chair, that in the audience, we have Attorney Bill Kramer, who is here on Section O, dealing with the land development and water agreements for Eagle Valley self-storage. I was not aware that this was on the consent agenda, so I asked Mr. Kramer to be here in the event there are any questions. I'm not asking that this be removed from the consent agenda, but I am telling the board that Attorney Kramer is here to ask any questions, or perhaps he can just give a little 1-minute blurb as to what exactly
That would-
was proposed.
That would be great, just for any clarification. Attorney Kramer, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Pride and Supervisor Albert. Thank you very much for hearing me. Most purpose of being here is that my client has under contract, the land development plan was approved a couple of years ago. The closing is scheduled for October 14th. The purpose of my being here is to answer your questions you may have, because in theory, what we're attempting to do is, because it has been approved, but not finally, because although Attorney Karasek and I have at that time prepared the land development agreement as well as the stormwater management agreement, as the only thing that needed to be done at that time was to get the letter of credit. If everything had been signed, the project would have gone forward. For various reasons, the project did not go forward, but it's now been sold to a buyer. If the buyer closes, the idea is that Nathan Ware is here. He represents my client. All the plans can be delivered to the township, signed by the original developer. They would be signed and sealed and be held in escrow here. Once the closing takes place, if it does take place, you never know until the closing happens.
Sure.
Then the buyer would come to the township, execute the development agreement as modified, because John Tressler has given you a new letter based upon an increased amount of improvements that need to be bonded. And all the developer would have to do, or the new buyer, would be to deliver to the township to the satisfaction of your solicitor. I might add, as an aside, you have an excellent solicitor, and I appreciate working with him all these years. They would then deliver a signed development agreement, a signed stormwater management agreement, and the letter of credit. We would then assign that to them, but my client would appreciate if this board would consider that as the way in which to handle this, so that everything being held in escrow.
Sure.
Once the plan is received and approved and here, they'd have 90 days to get those documents completed, delivered to this township and the township solicitor and the supervisor's approval. And they would then build the project.
It makes sense to me. I know we've done this at least with one other development plan. Is there any questions from?
I don't have any questions, Mr. Chair. I believe it complies with what we have done before. It protects the township. I would ask Mr. Tressler if he has any comments with his engineering acumen with respect to this, but as far as I can see, as long as it occurs the way we've talked about, it's okay.
What's the updated costing expenses? Did you submit that? I didn't see it.
Yeah, John sent that probably, hold on for a second, I may have
It might have been in my email today. I didn't.
it was a while ago. It would have been today, but let's see here, it was. I have his.
I make sure it's done. It's not like a condition, but it has to be done. So it's here already. Okay.
Yes, I have it, that it was sent on July 31.
Okay.
Was the updated amount. Which was updated now to just a little short of 1.5
I'm
million.
curious, what was it before? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
It was 15% less, so there was an escalation for the time between, from the original estimate was done.
Sure.
It wasn't that long ago. It was like a couple years ago.
2 years ago, yeah, I think 2 or 3. I think we rounded up and we put 5% a year and increased it by 15%.
Okay. There you go. There's your inflation.
Enough sense to me.
So since this matter is on the consent agenda, council, if the board approves, it's approved.
I don't have any other questions.
All right, seems basic. Robert, anything?
No,
I have just on the. I mean, I have some other questions on the consent agenda. I see the match commitment for the LSA is 10,000. What's the full amount of the grant?
That grant is for $131,000.
Okay,
The
so,
exact number is 130760.
so LSA only requires 10%.
They actually don't require any amount of actual match, but generally speaking, you're more likely to get funds if they see that you have skin in the game.
Okay, and it is, so this is just to submit, not to win.
Correct. This $10,000, if you approve it tonight, will be given to Bonnie and placed in the capital improvements budget as we plan for 2026.
Okay. And only is used if we win the grant, that's what I'm saying.
Correct.
Okay. And then,
Clarify, well, it's gonna be part of the consent motion in a second.
yeah,
Yeah, he was just asking a question.
Sorry,
Another thing.
there's
You
a
did-
bunch of things in the consent agenda, so we gotta go over all of them and then we'll.
My apologies.
No, you're okay. You're perfect.
So I'm looking through the bills. Julie, Cleveland Brothers,
That is for
Equipment rental.
trucks.
$1,500 for. I don't remember seeing that.
This is for our generator to keep it running.
Here at the
Yeah,
Yeah,
the one over on the
at the-
far side.
Public Works building, okay. All right, well. I don't see anything else that I have questions on the bill packets. And. Help me out with understanding what resolution 601, I see it here, I see all this listed information.
Sure,
What is,
so
what are we resolving here?
we are resolving to dispose of and shred documents that the township no longer needs. We are mandated by something called the Municipal Records Retention Manual that says, for example, you're required to keep all of your bank records for 7 years. There are also things like old personnel files, old completed building permits. You'll see a large amount of stuff on there. We have about 30 boxes of items that we are preparing to shred. Not all of them are required by this resolution, but there are a lot of duplicates in those items as well. One of the things that's important to me, especially because of building permits having people's phone numbers, addresses, and emails on them, that any building permit that gets destroyed gets shredded to make sure and limit access to other people's private information.
I mean, there's a couple things that are. I know it's wrong. I have this view of like 7 years for your holding on to your taxes, but there's some like unemployment compensation records dated from January 1st, 2021. But is there a problem with shredding that before 7 years? Just don't know.
No, so all of those numbers are pulled from the records manual. You will notice that some of them don't exactly match, but that is because we're choosing to keep items longer than necessary.
Okay,
I couldn't give you an example on one of them, but there is one financial record that we're only required to keep for 5 years.
Mhm.
But because we keep it with all of the other financial AP and R, we just push that 1 to 7, so we're not removing pieces of boxes.
and a lot of this stuff is digital as well, is it not?
That is correct.
So, but this is not
This
giving
is
us right to delete it. It's just to shred the physical papers.
It gives us rights to delete the paper originals. And it also, if we were planning to do a digital disposition, we could shred original documents that were digital. But our plan is not to do that. We're just getting rid of paper copies at this time.
Okay. All right, sorry about all the questions. This is the first time I've seen this before,
Oh, good. I think the last one was done
before my tenure.
probably. Cause it was only under 456. Resolution 456 that we started, that, cause you have to formally declare your intention to follow that manual.
Sure.
And so that was done in October of 2020, so probably not been done more than a couple months since
Okay,
then. Anything else?
I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
Tim?
Can you speak to the nature of the Delaware Gap LSA grant?
Yeah, it's for turnout gear for the department.
And who's representing the Delaware Gap Fire Department?
Well, in this case, we would be handling the administration of the bid.
Is that the Relief Association then?
So I've been working with their chief, Tim.
Okay,
You know who that is. Okay.
okay.
You know,
I'm just worried about another guy, so.
that reminds me, I was gonna ask that. Is there a reason why we are doing this and not Colorado Gap Borough?
Tim approached me,
Yeah.
I have offered my grant writing services to all of the emergency services that cover our township.
Because I mean, they do cover our work too, right? But
Yes, they
their
do.
main
cover-
center is there.
For sure, but because we are in their service area, I figured that my grant writing services extended to them.
And they receive funds from our
Yes.
fire
the
fire tax as well?
Yeah.
Okay,
Correct.
We already, and Delaware Gap already has a, LSA grant out for them for, building renovation.
Yeah, right,
That's pretty cool.
for sure. Yeah, that one's, yeah, I think altogether it might be about 400 that they have. This one is a lot. This one's like,
$110,000.
Yeah.
For a turnout year.
okay.
sure. Anyone else?
Is that so you can shred Ken Wolf's file? Is his file included in that?
Oh,
First
personnel
files.
files are not covered in that way, and not in this resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
The council, and, Mr. Euler just get whatever documents need to get together and then make sure here and make sure they get properly signed so they can be held in escrow, and then we'll wait to hear from you if that is. Thank you for your courtesy. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Okay, on reports, I don't have anything from emergency services. Solicitor, Ron, anything to know?
Oh, just basically maintaining files. I had received the brief of the intervener, which was, Water Gap, Capital Acquisition Partners and Helping Minds in the Carroll Commonwealth Court Appeal. If you recall that, as Carroll has, filed an appeal challenging the zoning ordinance that was adopted, to allow a conditional use in the R1 zone. So that brief just came in. That matters has been fully briefed. That's waiting for Commonwealth Court. Now there's a couple of briefs that are due in response to the counter appeal. Mountain Manor, then that matter will be ready for disposition. And I've done the various official action correspondence and other items that were needed to be done within the 15 days of approval with respect to the, I believe it was the Motiva plan, the Chukitis plan, Rocco collision plan, another plan, and then I also did the denial letter in the Delaware Water Gap matter. And pretty much what's been going on the last few weeks.
John, anything?
Just a few items. We had our last meeting for the master plan for the bike park. So we're wrapping all that up and we'll be sending that back to DCNR, I guess it is, for final review. Missy is continuing to work on the MS4. We did have a meeting with Ed Hunter following our last meeting here. He wanted to get some input as to what he needed to do and how he was going to be approaching things. And the other thing I wanted to bring to your attention.
Sorry, can you give a little bit more detail on where did you land on that?
All administrative at this point.
Okay.
He understand, I think probably the biggest question is, what does he intend to do about the fact that we believe that he can't create a long cul-de-sac?
Right.
And he said he understands that and he's working on a way to alleviate that problem. He did not go into specifics.
Okay.
John? John, I believe you were going to see if Julia could do some research about what our rules were back in 2005 vis-a-vis the length of the cul-de-sac and what we needed, and also a second, at least emergency exit. Do we have anything on that?
I didn't speak to Julia about that. Julia, I was asked whether I knew what the cul-de-sac length was from the 2005 ordinance, and I said I didn't have that ordinance. I didn't know the answer. I don't know if you have a copy. And if you do, either you could loan it to me or.
Yeah, I can do that. We've got a paper copy that I can give to you.
That'd be great. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Robert. I'd forgotten about that. And one other item, Green Mountain Drive Bridge. We're trying to get right-of-ways finalized there, and the commercial property, I think is DLP, represented by Attorney Charlie Vogt. They have pushed back on township offer for the right-of-way acquisition. I believe Charlie thinks it's not enough money. So it's in the township's court. I just wanted to remind you of that. I believe there's an email to that effect. And
Is there a time frame when we have to respond? And
well, we got grant money being held up,
Right?
so
We want to do this in the next construction season, right?
yeah.
what did the town, remind me what the township offered for, it's just for a right of way? What,
Actually, it was for an easement for the
easement just to
The area
build,
in the area of the wing wall. Yeah,
but then when the build is over,
There's a permanent easement.
oh, it's a permanent easement?
yeah.
Okay,
You have a temporary construction easement plus a permanent easement.
okay.
Permanent use as an
Minimal.
emergency exit or entrance, right? It's only
No,
for,
this is just to complete the construction on the wing wall for the bridge, which
Oh.
goes considerably outside of the township right away.
Right. well, let's discuss that in a legal setting.
Yeah, I just wanted it to make its way to the top of your business schedule.
Yeah, I mean,
At some point.
Let me add one other thing, Mr. Chair, to
Go ahead.
follow up as to what Engineer Tressler said. I did get a call or an email from an attorney, I believe in Doylestown, on behalf of the Shawnee PRD. And he wanted to have a conference call with me to sort of get up to speed of what's occurring, et cetera. So I'm not sure when that's set up. It's probably set up within the next few days, but then I'll report back to the township as to what he has to say.
Yeah.
I have no idea if he's
That would
going
be-
to push back or say, okay, or let's do this, or let's do that. I just don't know that yet.
Okay.
Are you talking about Hunter's project, or are you talking about
The
The
PRD
Ordinances.
Hunters Project.
there's multiple Shawnee PRDs?
All right, well, okay, the Hunters Project.
All right.
And that's all I have unless there's any.
All right, well, and we'll talk about parking in a little bit. So, that would be good. All right, thank you. Julia, anything?
We are on track to have all the OSA grants submitted on time. And that has been consuming most of mine.
Sure. Perfect. All right. Nothing on I-80 and 611 today. EAC, Alex, did you have anything today?
No.
So I know that later agenda item pretty much covers that. Okay, supervisor comments, Michael, Robert, anything?
No.
I don't have anything today.
Okay. I just wanted to commend DPW and Middle Smithfield Township for their work on the River Road paving project. That recently just got striped also, so that was fantastic. And they also did millings, if anyone's been to River's Edge recently, in the parking lot there. So that's in better shape now too.
Agreed. I drive that road every day. They did a great job.
Okay, under old business, we have a public hearing on draft ordinance 258 on lighting. So I'm gonna consider the public hearing open as of record now, 6:25 AM. Alex, do you want to give us a summary of what got us to this point?
Well,
And then I'll get to Ron talking about, or you can talk about the legal review and it being standalone, and then Julie will cover when it was published.
The ordinance, township recognized the need to control outdoor lighting and heighting intensity to maintain community character, ensure that lighting design is integral to project planning, and you're seeking to minimize adverse offsite impacts such as glare, light trespass, sky glow, and there's a ordinance that was put together by the township collaboratively. And basically, the intent is to minimize these offsite impacts, protect neighbors, the environment, and the night sky from nuisance glare and light trespass from improperly selected, placed, aimed, and applied to maintain or improperly shielded light sources, and to protect drivers and pedestrians from the glare of non-visual light sources. A lot of definitions, which include very clear illustrations of what is acceptable and unacceptable.
Right.
And this has been a process that we've been working on collaboratively for over a year and a half now.
Fantastic job. Penn Future also sent us a letter commending our efforts to address lighting, and they recommended their approval. We did speak to our alternate solicitor and getting a review there as well on in terms of having a standalone chapter, because we're not talking about lighting just in the general sense of land development currently, but also in terms of existing lighting, making sure that people are able to effectuate changes there. Julia, can you note when it was published in the Pocono Record?
Sure, this draft ordinance was published in the Pocono Record on September 2nd, September 8th, and September 15th. It was also sent to both the Monroe County Planning Commission as well as the Township Planning Commission. The Township's Planning Commission recommended to have this approved by the Board of Supervisors at their meeting on August 14th.
Was that unanimous?
I
Or-
believe, yes, it was. And the Monroe County Planning Commission issued a letter dated September 5th, 2025, recommending that it is generally consistent, and if we change anything, please send it back.
What was it, the Township Planning Commission again?
Planning Commission met on August 14th.
Am I correct that we didn't have to send this to planning because it's not in zoning, but we did anyway, just to cover our grounds, is that correct?
Alex, please correct me if I'm wrong, because there are references to the Saldo chapters as well as zoning stating that it will be a standalone.
Oh, it had to go
it-
anyway.
It did need to go before
Okay.
approval.
Okay, then. I don't see the county letter in here, but I might have been sent.
I don't believe I've included it in the packet, but they didn't have any comments passed in their regular.
No.
This is generally consistent, it follows what we're doing, this is encouraged.
I've reviewed it a bunch, I don't have any comments.
All right. Yeah, any comment on the lighting ordinance? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on draft ordinance 258.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Mr. Albert, second by Mr. Loveenheim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, because we're going to adopt these in sequential order. Following these hearings.
You want to adopt it now?
Oh.
That's up to you,
We could, I was gonna do it,
as a new business.
yeah.
Okay, right, fine.
The next draft ordinance public hearing is on 259, select record reflect that open at 6:30 p.m. And this basically just gets us consistent with Act 57 of 2022, which allows us to waive additional charges for real estate taxes if the taxpayer complied with all the requirements as set forth herein, finding the terms and providing for severability. So basically it's for if there's a qualifying event, and you don't get the notice, you prove that. And then it also moves the volunteer service tax credit into chapter 24. Because it was previously its own standalone chapter, this puts it under the taxation umbrella. And it was published,
We talked about this, of course, from
At the last-
before. Yeah,
This was published in the Permanent Record on September 10th of 2025. Because it does not update zoning or saldo, it did not need to go before any of the plan.
any comment on draft ordinance 259? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on draft ordinance 259.
so moved.
Motion by Mr. Albert,
Second.
second by Mr. Loveenheim, all in favor?
Aye,
Aye. Okay.
we are moving through these.
C is a discussion on the revisions to the Environmental Advisory Council ordinance. Basically, the commission recommended, the council recommended this as a result of occasionally not being able to reach quorum, and this would ask that the associate membership or alternates essentially be able to vote in the event that a quorum wasn't reached with regular membership. Alex, anything else to note on that? I know that they recommended it maybe July or something.
Yeah, this was previously tabled by the Board of Supervisors, so, what they're looking for at this point is, sort of a deliberation on the board's position on editing this ordinance to this degree, in this fashion.
I mean, to me, it makes sense. I would probably keep the part about having the committees. As that has worked for us in the past, but otherwise I see no reason why we shouldn't have associates or alternates be able to vote in the absence of a quorum. It's the same way it would work with the zoning hearing board and whatnot, and I think that's great. We've had more people wanting to be involved in that council than anything else in recent memory. So
Do we just appoint alternates or full members?
we appointed Todd as an associate and Dr. Mike as a full member to the vacancy left by Brett.
Okay,
And I believe there's a vacancy up in January that we'll be able to pick a full appointment for.
okay. I mean, it's just how they run their meetings. I don't have any reason, if this is how they want to govern themselves, I have no reason why I think it should be changed.
Yeah, I think that'd be great if you can put it in ordinance form and get it to Ron for legal review.
That has to be an ordinance on how they how the EAC votes?
If the present ordinance establishes how they vote, then if you're gonna change an ordinance,
Right.
it has to be by.
I'm just curious, because it's outside of planning.
I'm looking at what's in front of me and it's saying it's referring to ordinance 170.
Yeah, so it's already there, so it has to be changed. Got
It has to be changed by way of ordinance.
Got it.
Hey, Robert, anything?
No,
Alright, well, so I moved along then, Alex.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
No action required, right?
Nope. Okay. Next is the consideration to adopt resolution number 602, public comment, code of conduct. This is drafted to make our meetings a little bit more orderly and consistent with the Sunshine Act. I'm gonna read this in full. Whereas the Board of Supervisors in Smithfield Township values civic engagement and input from residents and taxpayers on matters of importance to the township. And whereas the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act 65 Pennsylvania Consolidated Statute subsection 701 et sec. Provides that residents and taxpayers must have a reasonable opportunity to comment on matters of concern, official action, and deliberation, which are or may be before the board prior to taking official action. And whereas the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, stated as above, specifically subsection 704, regulations and policies provides covered agencies, including the Board of Supervisors, the ability to adopt rules and regulations necessary for the conduct of its meetings and the maintenance of order. And now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Smithfield Township, Monroe County, Pennsylvania, in accordance with the above cited Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, hereby adopts the following policy regarding public comment at public meetings in Smithfield Township. 1, there shall be 2 public comment periods. The first period shall be during each agenda item with comments limited to the topic of the agenda item being discussed. The second general period shall be the last agenda item prior to adjournment, when comments on any item, including those not on the agenda, may be given. 2, the Board of Supervisors reserves the right to set a maximum time limit for any meeting at the beginning of the meeting. If due to such a time constraint, there is not sufficient time at a meeting to complete public comment, the board may defer the public comment period to the next regular meeting or to a special meeting occurring in advance of the next regular meeting, just as it would any other agenda item that cannot be addressed due to time constraints. 3, except as otherwise precluded by law, such deferral does not preclude the board from officially deliberating or acting upon matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be before the Board of Supervisors. 4, public commentators shall speak only after being recognized, shall state their name and municipality, and shall make their comments in a courteous and respectful manner without obscenity or threat. Public commentators shall be afforded up to 3 minutes per comment period and may not give their time to other speakers. 5, comments should be related to official township business within the purview of the board or agency. Board members have the right to question public commentators for clarification, but the public comment is not a question answer period and does not require a response by the Board of Supervisors. That stated, any time that may be taken by clarifying questions shall not be deducted from the allotted 3-minute speaking time. 6, any person disrupting the orderly conduct of the meeting after being duly warned may be removed or subject to citation. For 18 Pennsylvania Consolidated Statute, section 5503, disorderly conduct, a summary offense with 3rd-degree misdemeanor, or 18 Pennsylvania Consolidated Statute, section 5508, disrupting meetings and processions, a 3rd-degree misdemeanor. The Board of Supervisors, or 7th, the Board of Supervisors reserves the right to amend this policy at a public meeting. So it's been read in its entirety. I will entertain a motion on resolution 602.
motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Levenheim, second by Mr. Albert. Discussion.
Is there anywhere we can get a copy of this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Print one or?
Yeah,
I'll get you a
I'll have
copy
it.
after the meeting.
It'll be signed at tonight's meeting. Once Supervisor Levenheim signs it as well, it'll get uploaded onto the Township E-Code website with all of our other resolutions.
Alright, so you don't wanna hear what everyone has to say, so you're gonna limit what we say, what we can say and can't say, and just wanna put rules on it. So, more rules. More laws, more ordinances, yet no resolution. Just keep adding and adding to shut us up and move us along. Just keep stepping on toes, and we're supposed to just sit down and shut up and roll over and show you our bellies, and we're gonna like it, 'cause we're good boys. Thanks.
Yeah, comment?
Is there like a special meeting that we could get a voice in? Since you said that, I feel like in the stipulations and the rules that you said that we could do a separate meeting where we could all voice our opinions. I heard that, I don't know if I heard it correctly,
And you
but can we, is there a way we can do that where we can all voice ourselves?
I mean, we're not gonna do that.
Without you guys putting a limit on us.
Yes.
That's what you-
Because that's what you're
Yep,
doing
we're
right
doing one at
now,
a
but
time.
what we would like to know is, since you said it could be before or after, like any other
Correct,
agenda meeting.
correct.
Is there a way we could get our meeting?
So correct, if for example, the next meeting started at 7, we said, we're gonna be done by 9:30, one way or the other. We get through half the public comment period, and there's still people that wanna have more comments. That could be moved to special meeting, it could be moved to right at the beginning, but it does say that those comments would need to happen before the next meeting
But it
started.
does,
But it would
you
be.
did say
the
that we
public
could
comment.
get a meeting for our voices.
It could be a special meeting, or it could be at the beginning of the next,
So that's why we want a copy of what you just said, because I did hear you say,
you'll get a copy.
Ma'am, can I have your name, please?
oh, I'm sorry, Catherine Makovsky.
Can you spell that?
511, KATHERINE, MACHOVSKY,
Thank you.
5112 Range Drive. I'm literally like half a mile up the street.
Thank you.
So
Vicky,
when the resolution is now gonna be adopted,
yes.
will you roll over for an ordinance for this too?
No,
I'm just gonna say as resolution.
it's good by resolution.
Okay.
What else?
If she wants to get our thing.
So the idea of enforcing a so-called public comment code of conduct in this situation is not only ridiculous, but completely unfair. So let's be clear with this. This goes far beyond respect, order, or courtesy. It's about shutting down disagreement. It's a way to silence myself and anyone else who dares to ask a question or challenge decisions that are being made. You don't want to hear opposition unless it's on your terms, when it's convenient for you, and that strips away the entire purpose of public comment. Public meetings are meant to be a place where community members can speak openly, share their perspectives on situations, and hold leadership accountable. If our voices are not allowed when leadership agrees with it, then the process is completely broken. We already live in a world filled with animosity and division. Every day we are told how important it is to communicate, to come together, and to listen to one another. Yet in Smithfield Township, those values are being chipped away by leaders who decide which voices matter and which voices don't, and that's simply wrong. This is censorship disguised as a policy, and it has no place in a free society. If anything, the job of someone in the town council is to sit, listen, and hear people out. The American people, myself included, need to learn how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, because true leadership itself requires the ability to remain steady and composed when faced with difficulty. And let's be honest, you guys are grown men, better yet, grown adults, acting like a bunch of children. When all of you council members got up and walked out while I was speaking 2 weeks ago, it was not only rude and unprofessional, but it was downright disrespectful to me and the rest of the community I was speaking on behalf of. Your actions were petty and childish, and you should be embarrassed by how you chose to behave that night. Now, if the roles were reversed, and if members of the public stood up and walked out while you were talking, you can guarantee there would be an outrage. Respect is not a one-way street. I also know how you all probably look at me as just some young adult who doesn't know much, but the truth is, I probably know a lot more about this situation than all of you combined. I, along with the rest of the community, take the time to study the details, to research the inconsistencies, and to speak directly to the issues at hand. Meanwhile, you've chosen to brush off concerns and hide behind procedure. By dismissing my voice based on assumptions being made, don't just insult me. It doesn't just insult me, but it insults the facts being stated. And let's not forget, attempting to muzzle my words or limit my ability to speak out would be a direct violation of my First Amendment rights. Freedom of speech is not conditional, and it does not apply only when leaders like what's being said. Trying to enforce a rule that silences opposition doesn't just undermine community trust, but it undermines the Constitution itself. I will not stand by quietly while my basic rights and the rights of others in this community are trampled on for the sake of convenience or control. While I'm at it, let me make something else clear. I'm not trying to bring politics into this situation. With the way our country is today, the divisions, the hatred, and the endless fighting, we don't need to inject bias into every local issue. This isn't about political sides. This is simply about fairness, accountability, and respect for the people who live here. Our voices matter, no matter who we are or what we believe in, and it's wrong to silence us under the excuse of conduct or procedure. And I'm still waiting on an apology for that display, and I also think the community deserves one too. Walking out on May was not just dismissive, but it sent out a message that the people's concerns don't matter, that their time doesn't matter, that their voices don't matter, and that is unacceptable. Myself and the others standing behind me are not here to be ignored, and we will not be brushed under the rug because our words don't fit neatly into your agenda. We deserve leadership that listens. We deserve leadership that understands what it means to serve the people rather than to silence them. We deserve better than adults acting like children when they don't like what they hear. Until that apology is made to me, and until this community is treated with the respect it deserves, I will continue to call out this double standard for exactly what it is: an attempt to control, to censor, and to dodge accountability. Thank you. Ma'am, can I have your name, please? Vanessa Gleason, Gleason, from Landing, New Jersey.
And could you say your first name for me again, please?
Vanessa.
Vanessa,
Vanessa.
thank you.
My name first, or
Yeah.
Damian Jennings, DAMIAN, DZIE, DGIC, and I'm 29 London Drive, Middle Smithfield Township. Good evening, everyone. I am here today not just as a concerned citizen, but as someone who believes in fundamental rights granted to us by the Constitution, especially our right to the freedom of speech and to petition our government. Recently, our local official has taken it upon themselves to try to silence the community's voices regarding the reopening of the back nine. By refusing to allow public comment, they've done more than just ignore an issue. They've violated our constitutional rights. This is not just about a motorcourse track. This is about transparency, public input, and a democratic process. The First Amendment guarantees us the right to speak, to assemble, and to be heard, especially when it comes to decisions that directly affect our community. Shutting down the conversation because it's inconvenient or controversial sets a dangerous precedent. We deserve better. We're not asking for special treatment. We're asking for a fair process. We demand a public forum where all sides can be heard and where decisions are made with the input of people, not behind closed doors. I am here today to remind the township and the public that we, the people, have rights. We, a public body, hold meetings. When a public body holds meetings, and especially when it opens the floor for public comment, it cannot then pick and choose who gets to speak based on what they have to say. This is not just unfair, it's unconstitutional. The First Amendment guarantees every citizen the right of freedom of speech and the right to petition our government for redress or grievances. That right does not disappear when we enter a township hall. When a township refuses to allow members of the public to speak, it silences voices that have every legal and moral right to be heard. This is a clear violation of our constitutional rights. We are not asking for special treatment. We are demanding what is legally ours: a seat at the table and a voice in the process. If the township refuses to honor those rights, then we will seek justice in the courts. We are prepared let me be clear, this township denied the public the opportunity to speak. It didn't just ignore our voices, it may have broken the law. Under US Code 42-1983, any government official or body that deprives a person of their constitutional right under color of law can be held legally accountable in federal court. That includes violations of the First Amendment, which is exactly what's happening here. By denying us the chance to speak, the township may have violated both federal rights laws and state transparency laws. These are not just technicalities, these are protections that exist to ensure that the public have a seat at the table and a say in how our communities are run. Thank you.
Any other comment on the resolution?
Yeah, I would like to comment that what we're doing is almost exactly what the rules are in Middle Smithfield Township and in the East Stroudsburg School District board meetings, and have been in place for years.
Thank you, Robert.
I want to say, I appreciate the comments being made. actually, this young lady that spoke a few weeks ago, not before the meeting, I had to rush out on. I made a comment with her. I appreciate her comments. I think they're good. And I just want to say, one of the reasons for this is in fact to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to speak. I actually had multiple residents reach out to me. One that wanted to speak the other day, and because it was getting, they felt out of hand, they left, and they were actually afraid, and it was not on this issue, it was on a different issue, but that person also has a right to speak. And actually, I had a couple people recommend things, including adding residency and local taxpayer requirements, which is allowed by the Sunshine Act. We did not do that here. This document talks about everyone that comes here is allowed to make comment for their designated 3 minutes, which is pretty standard in this industry. So I just want to highlight that. I think that this group is very much in agreement that everyone here has a right to voice their opinion and state what they want to state. And I'm hoping this allows us to do that in an orderly fashion. That means that everyone's point can get across and we can hear all those points, which is important. If there's any change that is going to happen from this point, we have to hear everything. That's my call.
Yeah.
Can I just state something?
One last thing.
I've been living here and I've been coming to the meetings, over 20 years. We never had this. There is this specifically for the last few weeks. And that's why you guys decided to come up with this resolution, public comment.
This came up actually, I recall like a year ago as an idea, because I was watching East Stroudsburg School District
Yeah,
meetings.
that's the district. You're not in that same capacity with the district, but it's a municipality, township, town hall type of meeting, the residents
Yeah,
update.
it falls under the same law.
The district runs a little bit different, Michael.
Yeah, but this falls under the same law.
Yeah, that's all. And anyway, regardless, Smithfield does it, lots of townships do it. It literally is a way to guarantee.
To me, I just feel like this is like something created for the back nine. And like how the noise ordinance were created for the back nine issues. It's like, I feel like you're giving more ammo to the back nine people to go and have open up in litigation against the township. And when that happens, the residents or the taxpayers are gonna suffer from this, going back and forth with litigations and all that. As a taxpayer, I am not happy about it.
Thanks for your comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And you guys continue to label back nine as the problem. You are the problem.
Oh, yeah, mute you. Okay. Okay, consideration, item B, the consideration to adopt draft ordinance number 258, lighting. Do I hear a motion on that?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Levenheim. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Albert, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item C, the consideration to adopt draft ordinance number 259, tax penalty waiver positions. I'll entertain a motion on that.
All motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Albert. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Levenheim, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a discussion on housing in Smithfield Township, specifically the Westfield project. That's been the most notable as of late. Nate, are you representing?
I am here.
The
And I
project
believe
tonight?
Dr. Khan on the Zoom call.
I saw him there.
He was there.
There's an arrow there. There might be more.
Dr. Khan, are you? on?
Yes, I am. I am.
So we really just wanted to touch base with the township. Dr. Khan is proceeding with engineering for both the realignment of Franklin Hill Road and the NPDS and the land development plan, based on the discussion that these would be apartment buildings that would have all full residential use. And we just wanted to understand, again, I know you're working on it with the township, how we are in that process, just because again, our goal is to get these applications in. We have some deadlines on this relocation for the grant money, and just to, hopefully move that, part of the project along to get the zoning, what we need to accomplish that.
Can I comment?
Go ahead.
So I had a call with Dr. Khan one-on-one to understand understand what he's trying to do, and also for me to express my view on this, which I think I've been fairly clear, which is the idea of creating some sort of overlay or some sort of nuanced ordinance that allows this in only this place. I don't like that. I think it's contrary to what we should be doing. At the same time, I by and largely agree with the sentiment that this particular strip does not make sense in the ED. I also think, and I would love at some point to hear from, I don't think there's anyone here from that lives there. I know, but from neighbors, what they would rather see happen there. But my view is this area makes sense as an R2. R2 type zoning tends to be transitional between R1 and an economic development or a business zone. I think it abuts everywhere. It abuts is at least on that side of the road is all residential.
3 sides at least, right?
I mean, but I'm talking about not just property. I mean the whole area. That whole I guess that's the south side of 447. We're looking at it upside down, right? I mean, in terms of,
So it's
northeast, southwest, right?
So yeah, north is that direction.
Or like there,
South
right?
is direct, this is north. So this
Really, I
west.
guess that's where the 447. Anyway,
West.
I think it makes sense in that vein as an R2 type zoning. So I would love to see if that makes sense, if that's a spot zoning thing. I don't think it is because it's multiple properties. And I also generally think it makes that sort of stretch. I can perfectly imagine an apartment building there. And I would think that residents would prefer apartments than like a gas station, or what else is more likely to go there? Some sort of
Pretty low
commercial.
volume road from the traffic studies.
So of course, before approving any change, I would honestly love to hear what neighbors think in generality, but my personal view is it makes sense as an R2 type area, but I'm not comfortable changing the ordinance so that it is allowing one particular property to do one thing. But it would be more consistent with that side of 447 in that area being more of an R2 type zone.
I mean, but my thought is substantially similar, but I wonder, obviously the timing on that is longer if it were to be rezoned. I don't know how many parcels you look at. We'd have to get a sample map. But I know that in the past on 209 business, where there's at least a little bit less traffic compared to regular 209, business owner got a variance to convert what was a restaurant into apartments completely on that hardship. I wonder, given the variances received for the rest of the project, if that would be a quicker route that would give us the time
My other
to.
question on that, have you done an assessment if this was R2 zone? Would you be able to do this, or it's not dense enough?
I don't believe just with the zoning change to R2, I think there need to be ordinance amendments too, but I'll verify that.
I mean, I just want to, and then the question, if there needs to be an ordinance changed for this property, for me, it's always, well, why just you? It should be any property that's in an
That's a
R2.
fair question.
Yeah.
And I think the
I'm
original.
not gonna be, I'm just being honest, I'm not gonna be a fan of anything that's just for this one property. It should be, well, this is now new standard in apartment complexes and you don't allow that. I mean, the reality is from a legal standpoint, then we probably should change that. To allow for those sorts of things in, and we don't have an R3, I don't think,
No,
right?
we don't.
And I think the original proposal was to amend the ED zoning district, not for this property, but for all properties along 447 Paradise Trail and East Ground Street, which
It
are.
was, the challenge is that this is the only property that would work based on those requirements. And so for me, that's a little bit skirting the law.
Well, I don't know I think there's other properties in East Ground. I think there's I haven't looked at it, to be honest with you, but I think there are other properties on Paradise Trail that would qualify and on East Ground.
I mean, my objection stems from the fact that the ED zone was created of all commercial zones. And the intention of the fact that there isn't residential allowed in the ED was because of an incentive to get more commercial.
Right.
And this does the exact opposite of that. So that the idea of that in a ED zone, to me, it just doesn't make sense. I would much rather say if we think that this part of our township really makes sense as a denser residential area, because we don't really have that, then why don't we do that? I understand the timing, but I'm not so sure that that can't be quick. So long, if we have to create a whole new zone, that's gonna be almost impossible. But so I would love to hear from you guys. Is there, what are the covenants within R2? If this was an R2, that wouldn't make it possible? And is there an argument to be made that that should be applicable to all R2s? Because that's an easy.
But I think the R2 isn't dense enough as it is based on, because they're mostly 2-floor, and I think that's the height limit is the big thing with that.
Okay.
And that could be the concern too. If you really want to open up this development to all your R2 areas.
We don't have
would
a
be
lot.
my- What's that?
We don't have a lot for it, do we?
I haven't looked at that, but.
Yeah, which is also a problem, I
That would be
think.
the concern, and because we looked at this in other townships too, much of the same question, it really seems to be the way ordinances are going at this point. And that would be my concern, is that you probably have some areas in the R2 that you really wouldn't want this density or this building height away from a 447, setting.
How many floors is this?
4 floors.
4 floors.
It's not crazy.
Michael,
I mean.
Michael.
So, yeah, go ahead, Robert.
I think the three of us are in agreement. We need to do something here. I have problems with doing R2 only because we have an ED zone now, and there are probably owners there of property who want to maintain some of the possibilities for ED. At the same time, others would want to have multi-story apartment houses that are allowed in the R2. It seems like for this whole area up to Brown Street, we need a new zone. And it gets more complicated than that, in that if you look at the map, the ED zone as it now exists on this side of Independence Road is not contiguous. At Broad Street, there are houses, about 3 houses on both sides of the road, who are in the R1. So whatever we do, somehow we've got to bring those into either a new zone, bring them into the ED, and then change it. I mean, it gets complicated, but I think what you're suggesting and what we all want is something where we have some flexibility here, both for residential and for some, let's say, limited commercial use. But that's a new zone. And I think we're looking at some time for that. So we really have two problems, that and the fact that this particular development needs to get going, or we were going to lose the grant on the street that we want to change. And also, they're poised to begin. I think we need to talk about a zoning hearing board variance just for this project, but tie it into the fact that it's going to be part of a new zone we're doing, and that it will follow the rules of that new zone. And I really defer to John Tressler on this, because that's about the most I can say that where I understand the problems, and I think he does, and also the timeline. John?
Well, I do think probably the best way to solve the issue is a new zone. It probably should be a transition zone between the R2 and the ED zone. It would take a little bit of time to, when I said, probably the biggest impediment to time are meetings. You look at something, then you present it at a meeting and you discuss it, and then you come back to the next meeting. But that is the way to do it the best. And whether you want to create strictly a new residential zone or higher density, or whether you want to allow commercial in it as well, that could be a long discussion, because there's pros and cons to that. I've sat through those discussions. If you were just gonna make it a higher density residential zone, I believe that could go fairly quickly. That could be crafted, and advertised. No public notices put out, it has to be reviewed by the Monroe County Planning Commission, they have to comment, our own planning commission has to comment. I think even if we were to start that process, say next month, you're still looking spring to really formally adopt something like that. But if you zeroed in on what your criteria is gonna be in terms of what you're gonna permit, that might be a vehicle for this project to go before the zoning hearing board. Ask for a variance simply because time is their hardship. They've got grant money tied up, things of that nature. Their argument being that they are going to comply with the zone that is about to be created. There's a little bit of faith there that everybody's going to carry through with what they're saying, but.
Can't get land development approval if you don't.
Right, so that, to me, that would be the way to go.
That's kind of, because I had a conversation with the zoning officer, Matt, about this. I said, in what instances have you seen like a municipality stand behind it on the premise that it's essentially what the rule that will be? I think we have to figure out what other parcels we would want to see in this. Obviously I would like to see a draft, but I think that the key thing is just it's essentially what's in R2, just with higher density and because of the higher height limit. And you know, I don't see on this tract any commercial, like they're not gonna put a 7-Eleven there, you know, that doesn't really make sense given its distance.
On that height limitation, is that, Ron, this is a question for you, is that a challenge for us right now? Given that if this sort of apartment is not allowed anywhere in our township, it's allowed by right?
This type of apartment.
With this height, and I mean, or would they just be able to, they would be more likely to win a variance appeal?
I don't think the height would say that it's not allowed, or that would cause it to say it's not allowed.
This type of apartment is permitted
In which zone?
in the ED zone. It's not permitted as a standalone building though, so like
Correct.
Gateway has approval as a major mixed-use development project, so they have the larger acreage, which allows
And
the
they have
combination
ED
of
and
all
they
that.
have commercial in there already.
Correct, so
Yeah.
that kind of matches that requirement now. I think where we went wrong to some extent in the economic development zone, the amendment that we did in 2022, which contemplated projects like this, was that, and I've heard this from other smaller developers as well, that because the commercial requirement encompasses the entire ground floor, there's no one that wants that space. So they suggested to me that only the front half of the footprint is what should be commercial. I don't know that that would change anything on this project in particular, given the site constraints in general. But
Was there already a change made that it can be separate buildings? That's
and that's what I'm referring
it's
to.
incentivized, yeah.
There's a change where you can put it on the second floor, but you know, that's hard to rent as well.
But also it's a separate building, right? As long as
Separate
it's
buildings, but you need to match the footprint, so that means you gotta put it on the second floor of one of the other.
Right.
So.
So it really kind of means, even though our ordinance, I think when we imagine something like the apartments in East Stroudsburg by Crystal Street, where you have like the brewskis on the bottom and a couple floors of apartments. That was never possible with the ordinance that we voted on, even though we wanted
that was the
some of
vision.
that.
That was the vision, that type of
Cause
development.
I talked to a gentleman that owns the Close Encounters, old massage place or whatever that's by it's terribly named, by Lake Valhalla.
Yeah.
He wants to,
Useful.
yeah, he
Right.
wants to improve that, but he said, I can't really fill the whole bottom floor footprint. If he wants to, raise that and then build a mixed use building in
Right.
line with what in line with what RGB has proposed. Not that many units, but even in that case, since the bottom
Yeah.
floor,
Is that going to be a multi-level massage parlor?
no,
And you can see what's happening in this quarter, you see office space open for rent, buildings that need.
I get it. You
And
just,
and
you have
hear
to
the
be
need
careful.
for, hear the need for residential, so I mean, that's the
Yeah.
practical side of it, the market's driving what's needed there. And that's what we're trying to respond to. We just need to try to find a vehicle to get it.
So do you think the variance approach would?
Yeah, I think we're certainly open to that. You know, it's out of the purview of the supervisors directly, but certainly, you know, we want to work together towards what you're going.
I really wanna know how much of the R two this doesn't work in specifically. Cause if it's just a question of density and height, I don't see why an R three has to be so hard. I just don't.
So,
I'd agree.
and I don't have the zoning ordinance, I can't picture it in my mind, do all the R2 properties have access to public water and sewer?
All the
Because,
ones that exist right now, I believe so.
because that's what you need for this type of density.
That's correct.
But this one does have?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
You will serve letters, right?
Sewer line's right here and the water line is.
And so you're saying maybe that's the exception, so, or maybe R two gets amended to say you can have denser and more if you have water and sewer. Public,
You
and
could
then
do
this becomes R two.
You could do it
Yeah,
that
yeah,
way as
that's
well.
what we needed.
That's why I wanna know what elements of R two does this not work for?
Okay.
Cause I think that's my personal view, and I do agree, I think that this project makes sense here. I think the road will improve the township, I think this would be a good addition to our community. And so I'm just trying to think of what's the
Well, it's,
easiest way there, and that's my view.
okay. We'll
I
take a
mean,
look at
that would be, I don't know, Ron, would that be a text amendment if we were to modify R2, and I don't know what all
We
it
still,
says.
we have to do a zoning map change too, because
This is in
it's
the,
not, it's right now, it's in
Yeah.
it.
this is not an overlay, right?
Yeah,
This is
that's
a-
right.
It's two things.
So there'd be
Yeah,
a
you
map.
still need the,
Yeah.
And
it's basically the idea,
almost-
please.
In my head, I think almost all the R two is usually touches in ED parcels.
And in R one.
Yeah, oh, for sure. But I think that in most cases.
Well, it's a great
it would be
example of
Fairly
it.
close.
You wanna have
Very
R
close
two
density.
in between R one and ED in an
Yeah.
ideal zone.
I think-
Ideal.
Yeah,
It's buffering, so.
so
Look.
what you might wanna do then is expand this into the R2 with language in the R2 that you can have a much higher density.
That's what I'm saying.
Access
I just wanna understand what that
to
looks like.
yeah.
In the interest of time, it seems like we've got two questions here. One is just supporting this project for a variance with the zoning hearing board when they go in. And the second is figuring out what exactly we want here. And that may be a special session, it may be a joint session where we can really chew this over. We've come up with some really good ideas, but it's still sort of amorphous.
I appreciate that the applicants on time crunch. I would be open to a special meeting on this next month if you wanted to, with the planning commission, to talk about.
So I think that we can consider
I
that.
think we got our direction. Thank you. We'll look at the R two, see what's involved with that and consider a waiver, a variance application as well, and see which seems to be more appropriate.
Yeah, well, I think that'll get it done quicker too. John, can we get a bare bones draft of, I mean, cause I don't know what your ratio is, like, I know that our R two has a somewhat antiquated thing. It's also, by the way, a conditional use, the density in R two.
Okay.
So I think that, you know, in cases like this, we might want to,
Yeah, make it a conditional use and conditioned on.
well,
water, sewer.
or, I mean, I would say in this case, they're gonna get a variance, it'll be quicker, but I think we can make all the other stuff part of by right usage, if we
Okay,
think that that's the right use in those types of zones.
I'll see what I can put together, or I'll point out what we would have to do.
Yeah.
To make it work.
Yeah, cause I think the other thing is key is just the height limitation in that zone.
Okay, no comment on this issue.
I mean, it seems like to make rules for one and not for the other would be really unfair. There's a lot of rules that are gonna be made specifically just for him and not for other, other things that have been going on in this town. Time's of the essence with this guy is what everyone says. I think it's pretty pertinent with a lot of other projects in this town. Probably more others than this. It seems like they should be bending more to the rules that are there than us bending to the rules to fill pockets, because the reason they want more houses is more money. If there was more money involved in the commercial aspect of it and all that, they would be going that route. But it seems a little unfair to bend rules, just for one person, one project, one thing. And not to do it for other projects that are happening in this town.
Thank you.
Speaking of good for the community, I'm sorry to interrupt, but speaking of good for the community, you do have Mountain Manor and Back Nine that's already here. So let's wake up, people.
Yeah, let's wake up. That has nothing to do with this.
I'm not talking to you, Robert.
On this topic,
Why
not
don't you
on
show up?
Mountain Manor.
Why don't you show up and do your job? I'm not talking to you, buddy.
No, we're not doing crosstalk.
Cut him
Right,
off.
but who's Robert? Who's Robert
Come on.
interrupting right now? Robert has no right to interrupt either. So
Hold on, we're not doing any crosstalk.
From the couch.
The comment is limited to the Westfield project at this moment.
just proves how personal it is. Wake up, guys. Bring back
Alright,
Back Nine MX. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Parking regulations, we
I
had
got
that
a
on the
question real
agenda.
quick. Can you give a quick overview of what you're gonna decide to do for this? You discussed a lot of points and said about doing a lot of different things.
Sure.
Can I get an overview of what you wanna do?
Sure, so basically, we think that types of projects like that, with that level of density, are not, they kind of fit in between the ED zone and R2. We prefer to have clearer guidelines because this site's not desirable for commercial, and there's a bunch of others that are ED adjacent that are also not. We also don't have a lot of R2 because it's all built out for the most part. So we're suggesting that they get a variance, and we will have a draft text amendment to the R2 zone that permits basically that type of density when it's attached to public water and sewer.
However, no action's been taken aside from that, but John's gonna draft that.
Yeah,
No, I'm just curious, cause I've been through a few conversations here in the township over my time. I sit in an ED and I'm having a whole lot of trouble to get a 200 square foot sign on a building that I removed for the safety of the township, put up a new building and applied for a permit to put up a 200 square foot sign. The original sign was 320 square foot. It was there for over 80 years. And I still can't get grandfather to get a sign, but you're willing to go ahead, work and put in housing and add more traffic and congestion to the area, but I can't get a sign.
I think
Is
that,
this low income housing, this question?
No.
You sure?
I'm just curious to where they all fit together.
Hold on, sir, can I have your name?
Me, Paul Delaval,
Can you spell that, your last name for me?
DELLAVALLE.
no, I mean, I think we can continue that conversation on the sign. I know that you had one meeting thus far with Julia, and I don't know if you,
I didn't get a chance, I'm sorry, to talk to Matt.
yeah, I think we can have that
I
discussion.
personally feel like you should have been grandfathered in, and I'm not sure why you weren't, so I wanna understand that from that,
Okay.
because you had a sign, I understand. The barn came down, you should have the right to have that sign. One of the reasons, I mean, to your question, as I mentioned, there is a draft ordinance. And even that new for signage and that draft ordinance would still not allow your sign the way it is,
Right,
so
but-
that's not the way to go.
If you read the new ordinance, you should just throw it away. I've had it read by professionals
Mhm.
and it's so confusing that it's supposed to be on an 8th grade level and it's not.
Well, I mean,
We,
you had a meeting to
Look,
reduce the unit for.
I know this situation, and even the zoning officer agrees that it should be grandfathered in, but unfortunately, it's probably going to go to the zoning hearing board before we can do that. But he supports that, I support it, and it is unfair. It just happens to be in the regulation. So I hope the zoning hearing board can just hear it quickly and make a decision.
Let me get brought up to speed, because I don't
If I
have all
can
the-
actually cut this conversation off.
Sure.
Matt was doing research into this on Monday,
Uh-huh.
because I am under strict deadlines with the LSA. We did not have an opportunity to talk yet, so I know that there is an update on this, but I don't know what it is yet. So if I can pause this conversation until we hear from Matt. we
Absolutely.
will-
I just wanted to bring it up because we were looking to make constraints and adjustments for one area. So if we're willing to do that, I'm just saying, we're gonna need to do it for everyone.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
absolutely.
Okay. All right. on parking, John had drawn up a draft on off-street parking and loading requirements. We have the existing draft here. And then we have the addition of demand-based parking for non-residential, non-dwelling uses. I mean, it's self-explanatory that it's based upon demand, but based on study. John, do you want to give us an overview of that?
Yeah, but I had this page.
Be the
marked and I lost-
last
oh,
page.
There it is,
Yeah.
yeah, I got it, okay. Yeah, the overview is the township, wants to re-examine parking requirements. And especially in commercial and high, density projects. Because I think we all witness that we have a lot of vacant parking lots, except maybe on Christmas. And, that increases the need for stormwater management to contain the runoff. Puts down a lot of asphalt that we don't really need, that there's either, need more green space or whatever. So we were asked to determine how we might be able to address this situation in a more reasonable fashion. So we came up with some language that we are recommending be added to our existing parking ordinance. We're not recommending that we eliminate any of the requirements in the existing parking ordinance, because there may be some people who don't want to go through this new process. They just want to say, how many parking spaces do I need? And if the ordinance says you need 2 per 1,000 square feet, well, then that's what you provide. But if you have a larger development, and that's usually where this would come into play, sometimes it comes into play with apartments projects. And you believe that the recommended parking in the ordinance, or I should say the required number of parking spaces in the ordinance is excessive. This provision would allow you to do a study to demonstrate that that much parking would not be needed for your specific project. And we're requiring the study be done by a professional engineer, that engineer use documentation that is recognized as a recognized source for parking. We would also accept if, for example, if you had a developer come in and wanted to build a 100-unit apartment building, and he has a good track record, he says he owns 5 across various counties, and he only needs 1.5 parking spaces per unit. That if he would provide that documentation, that could be considered. So that is the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish, and we believe it can be accomplished with the addition of about 4 paragraphs to the existing parking ordinance.
Awesome. Michael, this is your,
I know, I wanted to see this because I hate
Yeah.
these giant empty parking lots.
yeah,
You have 80-20 is your split. Why is there, I said 80-20 split, like, so. This basically says, we keep the requirements the same, but they don't have to build out 100% of the requirements, they only have to build out 80%.
this is the existing ordinance, the
Oh, that's,
additions, the additions are on the back.
I don't have.
He just-
Oh, okay. So that is our current, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, for me, this is adding cost to the developer. These studies are expensive. So I mean, I,
That's why he doesn't have to do it.
but then the developer would have to then do all the parking spots. So I mean, ultimately, we're still gonna have the same amount of unnecessary parking in our township. That's how I think about it. Because they're doing it to save costs as well.
Well, and I believe that the cost of the study
It'll be less than the parking.
far less than the construction of the parking lot, yes. I mean, it's not a complicated study. I mean, if you use the ITE manual, they have all sorts of tables for the various uses.
Right.
And if you could quote that, I see it as being a 1-page study
I was gonna say, is using the ITE parking generation manual as simple as you hire an engineer, they say, oh, cool, this says arcades specifically generate this type and we wanna do that?
This is,
Cause I've read through some of the,
if you have a typical engineering project of a large scale apartment complex. You're looking for the engineering associated with your land development approval. If you need an HOP on top of that, the cost would go up even further. You're gonna need an MPDS permit. You're probably looking at $100,000 in engineering fees.
Yeah.
To do this study, I think you're adding another day's worth of work, which might be $1,500 to $2,000 worth of cost for that engineering fee to reduce your number of parking spaces, which I think every developer would jump at the chance to do that.
well,
I mean, I'd rather have this than what we have now. It's
Yeah.
just adding on the option to provide a study that shows, I don't need 100 spots, I only need 80. And then we could say, great, we could do 80. I mean,
Right.
for sure, I guess I'm just stating, I'm not sure it's enough, but I'd rather this than nothing.
to be clear, says parking for non-residential and non-dwelling
Right, now,
uses.
and that's the other consideration. Do you want to extend it to apartment complexes or townhouses? Townhouses, I think you gotta stay with what you got.
Yeah,
But apartment complexes, I think that's an area
I
that,
think the one thing that is needed is mixed use. And that's a question we've been asked in the past, when you have a mixed use location where really the parking's gonna get used.
I think
times a day.
I think we already commit that.
well, that's already, you
You-
can
you-
share
you
the
can
parking,
share parking.
gateway shares parking.
I understand.
between the-
Well, but okay, but
Well,
this says this study cannot be done, is only for parking for non-residential and non-dwelling uses. So you might wanna highlight non-exclusive, non-residential, non-dwelling or.
I think when you're contemplating a mixed use, maybe not a mixed use building, but a mixed use development. That's like on that scale, I think that has its own parking regs in the ED zone. I
But
think,
I also think those are the projects where you're gonna have the most giantest Walmart parking lots, that's
yeah,
a giant eyesore.
so why don't we double check that?
I would like to see the study available to everyone except for exclusively residential.
Right.
Say that again.
So if it's exclusively a residential, you can't just do the study. If it's a mixed use, or if it's a commercial.
So the only thing it doesn't apply to is residential,
Correct,
applies to everything else. Got it.
that's my,
I think that makes sense. I mean,
Looks
I don't
reasonable.
have a hard preference. I don't wanna see giant lots. You know, I think right now the gateway between the St. Luke's and the
well,
well, not the Wawa, the Dunkin' pad that's to
Yeah.
the left. I think they agreed to share parking as part of that,
yeah,
and that's
yeah,
part of
they have
their
that ability, I just.
agreement. So I think I would like to see that here too.
I don't know if you have reduced parking for residential senior housing, but that's one that really needs a lot of parking, so you might wanna. If you're
Good point.
if you're gonna exclude residential, you might not wanna exclude
I mean,
residential.
maybe that's the point, if they can have a study that shows they don't need it. Why wouldn't you not, the whole point of this was right now, the only way to have less parking than is required in our ordinance is to go to the zoning hearing board.
Yeah.
To do something that nobody really wants, including me. Wants lots and lots of empty parking spots, so if it provides an opportunity for them to provide a legit study that lets them do 5 less parking spots, I think anywhere should do it.
Okay, and to your point, this is far cheaper than going to the zoning hearing board.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you gotta prepare
Yeah,
your evidence for that, you gotta pay for your attorney to go there.
Correct.
Todd.
Yeah, you have an example of what you're talking about, any existing places or upcoming places that are gonna be on the books that you're looking at this parking?
I mean, one of my examples that I usually give of too much parking would be the Dairy Queen on 209.
Okay.
So I think about spaces like that where the building is so small.
We had one person here before, and this they were like one parking spot short of what they were supposed to be, and they're like, I don't need it, everything's fine. But as supervisors, you can't approve it, by law, I can't approve it, I'm sorry, you have to go to the zoning hearing board. Cause the law says,
Was that East Brown Street?
Okay,
so right now the law gives.
I can actually give you a couple examples. Ron probably drives by it all the time, the Garfield McKinley building in Bernardo. when that was built for apartments, it was 1 car per resident.
Yeah.
As we moved into the 80s and 90s and the 2000, they got 4 and 5 cars per apartment.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on a main road. Some of those people park blocks away.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just at the VA today. They put a 3-tier parking garage in. They are out of parking already. Okay, so we may want to look at these housing areas and think towards the future, because, you know, when a family moves in, they start a family, they live there for the, 20, 30 years. Their kids grow up there. Next thing you know, they got 4 or 5 cars.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I don't wanna see
Now,
some little.
now we're
parking.
allowing them 2 parking spaces, but now they're actually being 5.
Well, no one's precluding a developer from building more than they need.
Okay, but I'm just saying,
This is I mean, honestly, this is from thinking about the Walmart. I mean, I know it's not our township,
right,
but where you literally have it in the middle of East Stroudsburg, the massivest parking lot that's 80% empty. All the time. For me, it's an eyesore. I think it's unfortunate. And there are spaces in our township that could be developed like that. And the idea
of an example of empty parking spots all day long.
Which one?
Over at Goodwill.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
But those parking lots are not that way because the developer wanted the parking, because our ordinance said they had to have
yeah.
it.
This would allow more green space, which is.
I love the green space, but I'm just saying, if we approve housing, we need to think of future.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just gonna say, I think the concern here is mostly on the commercial side. But I agree with that too.
I know, because we talked a lot about commercial and residential together.
Right.
So if it's a busy commercial place, say over at Eagle Valley Corners there, there's strip malls,
Yeah,
I wouldn't walk in there. They could death trap those parking lots.
yeah, no, parking lot safety is a big thing too.
But I mean, if we're doing residential with commercial and everything, we need to maybe separate residential and commercial parking.
Yeah.
And make sure there's enough parking for residential plus the commercial itself.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'd love to see more green space, but
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we imagine with this contemplation, there's probably gonna be a couple changes to that. We'll hopefully be able to generate some examples based on that and
okay.
consider that.
Can I ask a question? It's regarding about this project, and since there's housing gonna be there, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there's gonna be parking lot there, right?
Sure.
Do we know the ratio of, for each apartment, how many parking spaces are gonna be?
What's the law right now? I don't know. I don't know. That's why I have the numbers here right now.
I think in some cases it's like 1.8.
1 point, yeah.
It depends on the number of bedrooms they have in each apartment building.
You gotta get a smart.
But my concern is because, where I live, and it's a mixed use R2. And like, there's a multi-unit, and there's other multi-units being built in the community. So, like, for instance, my next door, there's 2 units. And the parking lot is small, but one unit has 4 cars, and the other unit has 1 car, and I always see them fighting.
Uh-huh.
You're
Sure.
blocking me, I can't get out,
Yeah. Well, that's why John's comment was maybe don't touch the residential.
Well, I think maybe you should touch the residential a little bit.
Like as in increase the parking in
Yes,
R2.
because if the lot is small and you have an 1,800 square foot home. And the building, like the area, the parking is very tight. Like, it's okay for 2 cars for both units, but as their kids get older. And they still live with their parents through college and all that, it gets congested.
I mean,
So
just to add, like
that's
she's
something you
saying,
need to think about.
one person in an apartment complex throws a birthday party, where do they park?
Right, well, I mean, in our existing ordinance, there's contingencies for that. That's why it's not like 1 per unit, and then there's the common parking. So we'll look at it as soon as we have an updated draft.
Okay.
I think the idea was commercial, focusing on commercial uses. That's where this came from.
Well, maybe think about residential, because township owns some roads in like Valhalla. And people do 10 park on the township road. And then when people have to go to their home, we have to kind of, maneuver not to hit that car.
there also was a few weeks ago, what seemed to be some special event at the new special event hall that just opened up from wherever Robert and the Fuji Spa he goes to. Right across from there, there was the event hall. At the same time, right down the street was whatever that casino is, the gambling bar, drug area, whatever that is going on there. There's two events at once. And I didn't send you guys the video, I took one somewhere, but there was cars lining the road all the way from Weiss all the way down to almost Euroville.
Parked or on the road?
Parked on the road.
Parked on the road, yeah, I saw that too. I read that, yeah.
If you get
The
conducted.
traffic
It was
very
all
bad.
the way down 209, there was traffic guards.
Alright,
Thank you.
look into that, thanks.
We'll move into public comment.
Good evening.
Speaking-
So.
Speaking of zoning,
I'm
sorry.
In public comment, so I'm gonna let Jennifer talk in a second as soon as Julia brings up.
I didn't see her step up. No, she got the floor. Go ahead.
Oh, good, yeah, and she's gonna bring up the timer that way.
Over the course of the last.
Hang on 1 second, I want her to start the timer, then we can let you talk.
You like it.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Over the course of the last few weeks, I have stood before you referencing facts garnered from sworn testimony, court transcripts, and court rulings in an effort to be transparent and ensure that those watching and listening are privy to the facts of our situation. I have been met with opposition to those facts by some who choose to condemn something that they have failed to research. Rest assured that the foundation of my response will be, as it has been, built from facts and truth. There is nothing worse than perpetuating a lie because you have failed to validate its truth. The beauty of this country is the First Amendment and being able to speak up and speak out against injustices, against those who wish to silence you, no matter what tactics they impart. If you are afraid to stand up for what you believe, then you have already lost your fight. And this goes for anything that anyone has an issue with. It takes courage to voice the truth. It takes resolve to stand firm in it. The harder you try to silence what you don't like or don't agree with, the more we will talk and we will hold steadfast in our conviction, in our case, that the back nine is valuable to this community and deserves to be open. We believe that words matter, that truth spoken respectfully yet boldly can cut through lies of those individuals determined to silence us. If I have learned anything in these last few weeks, when you are told to sit down and be quiet, that's the exact moment that you stand taller and speak louder. The worst thing any of us could do right now is be quiet. Silence isn't an option. When good people stop talking, bad ideas and mistruths take root. When the truth retreats, lies advance. That is why we will never stop showing up, never stop speaking the facts, and never stop fighting for the track we love and the people we call family. Our voices deserve to be heard. Oh, look at that.
Thank you.
Kept it short.
Their public comment?
I believe Dr. Sportelli's next, he's on the line. If he could chime in whenever you're ready, if you could hear us there, Doc.
Sure. I'll certainly be brief and respectful. Can everybody hear me and see me okay?
Yeah. Here.
Thank
we can
you.
hear you.
Thank you so much. Incredibly appreciated. First off, unbelievably grateful and thankful to have the opportunity to say a few words. I promise you I'll be brief. Just a quick introduction. My name is Dr. Dominic Sportelli. I'm a medical physician. I'm a board certified psychiatrist and neurologist in both adult and child and adolescent psychiatry. Just a little quick background. I'm heavily involved in academics, faculty at New York Medical College. I've been teaching for quite a bit in the medical sphere and research. I'm the associate program director for Prime Health, which is a 5-hospital consortium in the Northeast. and I'm on the board of directors of New York Medical College and NYIT. So I understand how boards work and all this stuff, and that's why I'm going to be very brief. I've had incredible opportunity to advocate for mental health. I was a co-host on a national talk show called The Doctors from season 9 to 14. Hopefully you guys watched it, although nobody watches TV anymore. But contributor on Fox News, Core TV, and Extra. So I'm a very strong advocate for mental health and child development. I've worked in multiple juvenile detention centers. I've been on school boards. So I've seen quite a bit in my career. So, you know, I've dedicated my career to supporting mental health and emotional health of young people. And, you know, I'm just here to say a few words just to speak in strong support of the proposal and support the back nine. So, you know, you guys may or may not know, but motorsports and outdoor activities are not just recreational. They're incredibly therapeutic. And a lot of research backs this. They're therapeutic for families. And in my clinical work, everyone, I promise you that I've had personal observations with the motocross community, witnessed children with behavioral disorders and social anxiety and peer difficulties absolutely transform through these outdoor motorsports. And these are kids that struggle in traditional team sports in the classroom setting. But when they're out on the track with their families, they find focus, they find motivation, they build self-esteem. But most importantly, I think the biggest ones are they connect with peers and mentors. But the best one is they connect with their families. You know, motocross has been shown even in research, and I'm happy to advocate this. It fosters an incredibly deep child-parent bond. You know, if you guys are probably into football and baseball and all these team sports, which are amazing, but imagine preparing a bike with your child together. Imagine troubleshooting problems together. Imagine supporting each other through these victories and setbacks and injuries that happen. So trust, communication, emotional closeness, these are all critical importance development characteristics that are so important now, guys, in fast-paced, screen-saturated worlds, video games. And beyond the family unit, I want you guys to understand that motocross is something that builds a very strong, inclusive community. So a lot of these kids, they may not feel like they fit in anywhere else. But in these communities, it's so fascinating. They're welcome, they're mentored, they're supported. They learn sportsmanship, responsibility, how to be something bigger than themselves. And I've seen this not only through clinical work, but personally.
Thank you.
How am I doing on time, guys? Am I all right?
Just ran out.
Yep.
but-
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Kind of fair, keep speaking, go for it, Doc.
yeah, 2 seconds, guys. I just in closing, I just want to say that, you know, I appreciate that you guys are listening. I understand how this works. I want to put myself out there as a professional and someone, if you guys ever have questions about safety, anything like that, please reach out. I'm happy to get involved. I've developed an incredible network of professionals and physicians from orthopedics to physical therapy to neurologists to audiologists, and very, very happy to contribute anything I can to help foster this endeavor. So thank you for your time and very appreciative and grateful.
Thank you.
What was his name? So what's your name? Sorry.
My name is Dr. Sportelli. It's Sportelli.
Great name for someone that works in the field.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
You too. Thank you.
On Walcott Board, I'd probably love to talk to him about how to get good at public speaking and whatnot. I don't like being under the spotlight at all, but Jacob, let me choose to apologize to me if Vanessa is on you, but as a union worker and knowing that you're up for re-election, I think it's really a good question to ask if you're qualified for this spot. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
And I do have union members that live in this town.
Okay, the comments?
Zach, 109 Clubhouse Court, East Stroudsburg, PA. Kinda, everyone hit the nail on the head with, everything that was going on with you trying to limit what we're saying, obviously by making rules, by shutting us up, by leaving, by telling us what we can and can't say. This sweet timer you guys have now. Sure, you made this guy leave because you don't want him to cover actually what's going on in the town, it makes you look bad. But I have some questions on, I filed some stuff at some point, on zoning. There's a few other places that, I've found that are similar to me, resort zoning in R1 area. One being, Shawnee Inn and Mountain, that's resort in the R1 area. It's got food. It's got recreation seasonally. Where's the lodging? I don't know any lodging there. Where's the lodging? In order to be a resort, you have to have lodging. So, well, I mean, there's a lot of fingers pointing at us, whether we're a resort or not, but there's no lodging at Shawnee. And I've heard them say, well, Shawnee Inn is the lodging for Shawnee thing, but you have to drive down the road there to get to that. Also, another example, we had the Jewish camp, Camp Dora Golding. That's a camp, a full-on camp. I don't know which way you look at it. Somehow that's on there zoned as a National Forest Reserve or a forest reserve of some sort. Joe Vaughn over at I think it's called Mountain Vista Campground, something, not important. That's camp resort, R1 zoning. My neighbor, R1 zoning, literally pretty damn close. That's in an R1 area. The same people who might have a problem with us might be confused with the noise that's coming from him. Pretty crazy to think that that's also in an R1 zoned area, the exact same area we're in, right next door. And we're worried about what I'm doing, not the others, the other resorts. Rainbow Mountain, Camp Out, 2 different resorts in R1 zoning. Not sure what goes on over there. You go on their website, it's pretty disturbing. On what they're advertising, some of the activities they're advertising, which Ken Wolf was right. We could have a nightclub. Camp Out has a nightclub. They have a full-on nightclub. They have an outdoor pool advertised as clothing optional. So maybe if we ride dirt bikes without our clothes, we'll be allowed. And so for a lot of the things that are being being pointed at us, there's a lot of other people that either A, should be treated fairly similar to us. I'm not sure on all the levels that I would like to be treated similar, but
Thank you.
there's multiple things of similar things, resorts in R1 zoning, and you're only worried about me.
Thank you.
The timeshares are also, I believe, in R1 zoning right across from Shawnee. Which is kind of confusing to me because R1 is low density residential. I'm not sure, I haven't looked into it too much because I'm not sure if townhouses are low density residential. But with that being said, how does that exist there? So it seems like a lot of the zoning maps and your maps that are here are kind of made up and just thrown over everything until we get to the problem. And then when we get to the problem, then we'll strangle out whoever it is and we'll make them the problem. And we'll pat ourselves on the back like we did something good and came up with a solution.
Thank you.
I want to be treated fairly along with the rest of the resorts in R1 zoning. And
Thank you. You can sit now.
no, I can stand. I'll actually stand.
We're done. We've
No,
surpassed-
you
you've
may be
got-
done. I'm not done.
you've got-
You may be done, but I'm not
You
done.
have
bud.
surpassed the time
Oh,
limit. We
what are you
asked
gonna
you
do? Get your
nicely.
mom to come in and stick up for you, bro.
We've asked you.
So anyhow, we're doing, there's a lot going on here and a lot, obviously, that doesn't wanna be talked about. We're gonna go and come up with a whole noise ordinance to shut us up. We're gonna come up with a whole rules on how long I can talk to shut me up. You're gonna stand up and walk out of the room to shut me up. You're gonna tell me and send threatening emails that we need to shut up, that the groups need to stop, that everyone needs to stop.
You guys got family obligations to go to. I'd like to do family obligations with my family, but I can't. Because of you guys. There's a simple way to resolve all this, and that's simply to dissolve the injunction and let us all ride the way we were on our self-regulated hours. Self-regulated hours, 3 days a week. 3 days a week. Not very long. And you're gonna then come back onto that. I did that out of the goodness of my heart. Because I'm a good person, whether you think it or not, whether you guys think it or not, I know I'm a great person. I sleep great at night. So I really would like, something to come up instead of a whole nother, we're gonna put another set of rules on it, we'll put another thing. Instead of, we'll do 10 things and forget about the one thing. You'll do 10 things, you'll do 10 different fights, 10 different ordinance changes, 10 different laws. You won't settle, you won't resolve, you won't come up with a solution. You'll just create another law just to shut us up and move us along. And you'll keep moving us along and keep moving us down the road until we fizzle out, until we're tired, until we're this. And guess what? I'm gonna be here a lot longer. I'm gonna be in this area. I'm gonna be doing this. And it might not be a motocross park right now, it could be a bike park. You guys just said it doesn't need to have, we don't need any permits to do a bike park. So what is it? You guys, what do you want? We want your permits, we do this, we do that, and the goalpost is always changing. We're not the problem, you guys are the problem. Come up with a solution on your end. You seem like a level-headed guy. You got some skin in this game with your family and the resorts and all that stuff going on in this area. It may not be directly owned by you, but you have some pull and some say in this. And I think it's great to have other things that are recreational to do in this area, such as skiing, such as shawning. Those things go hand in hand. You know what my favorite thing to do come December, fall? I'm riding dirt bikes and they're skiing. Literally, I can watch it from the track. I can watch them ski and I can like, I'm done. I can get on there and I can go participate in another sport in this town that not many places have to offer. So let's keep the resorts going. Let's keep the Poconos what the Poconos are, and let's come up with a solution to this. Instead of just keep poo-pooing it down the road. Poo-poo, no, you're riding dirt bikes, you're riding dirt bikes. It's the noise isn't a problem because of your contempt order. You guys tried to charge us with contempt over an e-bike race. An e-bike race. There's no noise, there's no dust, there's no fumes. All three problems are eliminated, the three complaints by any neighbors, and you still try and charge us contempt. So is there a problem or isn't there a problem? If we eliminate noise, we eliminate dust, we eliminate fumes, holy shit, you guys still have a problem. You guys still have a problem. No, you don't want to hear the truth. You don't want to hear the blame. So there's a whole contempt thing that you guys will still charge us when there's no noise. Anyone else want to go? Yeah, you can go. Yeah, I'll be done if you want to talk. Keep talking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, up there.
It's not about. Vicky Osmond, Smithfield Township resident. Julia, thank you for setting those timesheets. I just had a question. I was reviewing it over this weekend. When I was an auditor, you introduced the 770 cap hours for the supervisors. Remember, Jacob?
Continue. Nope,
Yes.
it's not a question and answer period, but you can continue
Okay,
to speak.
well, the answer is yes. And you took us to court for that, too. You got the raise. I was for it, on your side to get the raise. But, the 770-hour cap hours I see in 2022 was implemented, 2023 and 2024 on the reorganization. But in the reorganization of 2025, somehow the 770 was not on here. And I was advised by Audrey Hawker, I spoke with her yesterday. I spoke with Rose Davis also. The 770 hours are supposed to be implemented automatically unless you change the hours. So based on the calculation, you are over 172 hours over the 770 cat hours. So what happened is then you stop charging the hours. And I don't know why Julia couldn't, warn you about it. But you do owe us money for it. So 172 hours times your hourly rate, you're like 4,000 something that you owe to the residents. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Thanks. You're welcome.
Anyone else? To adjourn.
No.
Well, I guess he wants to. Alright, guys. Okay.
Go ahead.
How you doing? Paul Delavelle, 108 Night Court, East Stroudsburg, PA, 18335. Local adrenaline junkie in the area. Watched this area change from when I was born to now. Lost all my places to ride. This came up. Loved it. Local skydiver, my airport shut down. I have a few investors that want to buy it back, but if there's noise ordinance goes in, you live in Lake Valhalla?
Yeah.
So you probably remember the caravan from 7:30 in the morning till sunset. All day we would jump.
Nice to live
And
it.
and it was loud.
I had
I know
no
that.
issues with that.
I could hear the plane from my house. But no one complained that, because we're having fun. Everybody was having fun. Bringing hundreds of people in the area, spending money here. And we're good people. Just as that doctor said. Sportnick, whatever his name was. Sportelli. So, I'm for everything with the back time. I have places to ride in Glen Park. But sometimes you get kicked out of there, probably from the bums that live in there, because they chase you around. The Gateway Project, Mosher's Dairy, I grew up on that farm. We used to be able to ride dirt bikes everywhere there. East Stroudsburg Airport, ride dirt bikes there. I've probably ridden more places in this area than anyone around here. Marshall Creek Bypass, that was another spot we could ride. Now it's fenced in. Like you said, great green landscape spot, but no one's allowed to use it. No problem back then to use it, but once a bypass goes in, what's the deal with that? There's no noise ordinance for that area, correct? Are we allowed to ride there? This is a question I'm just asking, so I'll ride there all day tomorrow, and all day the next week, and all day the winter, because I can ride all winter. Such as a back nine. Now they're having problems with people tampering on their equipment, just because they're trying to stop them. It could be the boost, who knows? And I used to ride with the kids with the boost when they were young. Mandy Booth's a good friend of mine, her brother. I bought a CR125 off them. Their whole family was for riding and outdoor recreation. But once they get older, their kids went to college, they don't live there anymore. So now they change their views a little bit. It's everybody's word for word, but it's not experiences. You understand? Like, everybody wants to go somewhere, but everybody lives behind their house. They have a Ring camera. They're scared to go outside. Like, come on. It's the Poconos, like Jack said. I'm on the river just about every day. And right after Memorial Day starts, there's an influx of people from the city. They come and bring garbage, and I clean it up. Because this is my area. But you're talking about people that come here, good people, to ride dirt bikes and help each other, and we don't destroy the property. Trying to have a place to enjoy everything at. Like, I have to travel all over the place to ride my mountain bike, skydive, scuba dive. I would love to do it in my community, but we're regulated here. Just from what people say. And probably you guys have no experience in this stuff, obviously. You probably grew up riding BMX skateboarding. But it is what it is, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Joseph Willis Porter representing the public. Just a couple minimal
Can
things.
you spell your last name, please?
VILLACORTA.
Sorry.
No big deal.
Hold on.
Yeah, because 3 minutes, a lot to fit in. I made a lot of notes, but we'll skip a lot of them. Because a lot of them have been touched really well, and it's not really an attack or anything, and all the attacks are not beneficial, but I will say that, that when I heard about the project, the, back nine happening, I had no idea that it had come to an end. And, the, feedback that I heard was just a lot of people were impressed by the idea of something new in our area. I'm aware that a lot of locals probably complained. I'm aware that a lot of people pointed a lot of fingers at your council, which we all voted you to be here. And we should keep that in mind for next election, or anything of that matter. But throwing stones and building walls won't help anyone. And, the biggest thing that I can say is, good use of space and, recreation is awesome. Being in the extreme sports all my life, I know that there's not enough of them and nothing within, reasonable distance from us. I can also tell you that personally have seen, influx of other people putting money into the community from visiting from out of state for recreation of that, type. I can also say that I feel for this group because they are being attacked by the public, especially in regards to the mentally challenged. Now, I take that personally because I was deemed mentally challenged, intellectually challenged at an early age, and anyone who uses the, term retard derogatory toward another person should be ashamed. Because everyone is a human being and no one chooses to have disabilities. And to live with them and to be downtrodden, there's not enough voice for those people, and we should represent them as a public. And space for these people to use as they please, whether they go through the proper measures originally or not, is not up for discussion. We should try to help them out. That's all I got. Thank you.
I'd like to talk if I could.
Amy, are you intending to make a comment?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. First off, the gentleman that was up there talking about the Booth family, those are not my children. I think when it comes to public comment and freedom of speech, that's where the problem is with this group. They have put so many vulgar things and really, excuse me, they have put so many things out there about me without any proof and other people without any proof. And I really feel that they need to watch what they say. So the gentleman who just got up and spoke and said that there was machinery fooled with, and it's probably the Booth family, and he knows them. Well, Amanda is not my daughter, and Aaron is not my son. So I really think when you talk of freedom of speech, you really have to think twice about what you're saying is correct. I had a whole thing written up, and I had segments of all of the court things of what was said. The reason you're in this position is because you did not get the proper things done till a year later. It wasn't that you weren't told. It's the fact that you have money, you spent $500,000, you keep saying. And you didn't contact a lawyer as to what process? I mean, you want to be treated like other resorts, then do it the proper way. Because there are excavators that live in this community. There are business people. They all went through this procedure. The last meeting that I was out, those people went through the whole process and were getting the final approval. And you showed nothing to them. You talked during the meeting and everything. You're interrupting right now. There's freedom of speech and someone is interrupting. So do not lecture people on freedom of speech. When they don't agree with you, you attack them. My husband didn't even want me to come on here today because guaranteed tomorrow I'm going to have Zach and Alyssa on my back line harassing me. Guaranteed. So I am practicing my freedom of speech right now. And I have a list of lies that you have put out and exactly what has happened. When Mountain Man, you keep saying you have 200 acres. When it opened and when the track started, you did not have 200 acres. You owed pieces of it. Not until April did you start to get more. And I assume it's a lease because I can't find
Excuse me,
your,
we're not gonna be disrupting this meeting. Tammy, you're out of time.
Okay. I just want to say, don't talk about freedom of speech if you're going to slander people and you have no idea.
Thank you, Tammy.
Hello,
Hi.
Hudson Byrne, 109 Clubhouse Court. The lady, what was her name? Tammy Booth. Her husband, I was up there fishing one day, and then they called me and my brother the R word, and also was referring to Oliver, and then I've never met her, I didn't even know her. And then she was referring names to me. I did not know her. I've never went near her, anything.
We have
And
the
then-
video that she's saying.
We're doing one at a time. We're not.
And then also, she called my mom the B word, and then a bunch of other words, and then they came up on the hill when we were riding, and then just started harassing us. So they came at us first, and we came to them and asked them for a few things before we did anything with opening the track or anything. That's all.
Thank you.
Great job, buddy.
Hi. Catherine Makovsky, again, I'm sure you already have me on there. I live in that development. I have lived there for 6 years. My kids play in that area. They are safe. They're not on the main roads. They're not doing drugs on Main Street, as we all know the preteens and the issues in this town anymore. I have lived in this area for 25 years. I've watched it go worse and worse and worse. In a lot of areas. We moved out to this area because it's not Mount Pocono and how that goes now. Okay, my kids used to fish and ride dirt bikes like normal growing kids, 14, 15-year-old kids. Now what? Now what are they doing? Riding their bikes on Main Street, loitering in stores? Are you guys closing everything that's recreational in this area for kids and forcing them into bad areas? There's 77 families in that development. Not one complaint. Everybody loves those kids. They're the first people who show up when there's a problem. All of us help each other. It's a community in there. I don't understand what the issue is. Do you just want the kids to be in trouble in the main streets on their bikes or dodging in and out of power lines like we used to have to do growing up? That's my thing. I don't understand what you guys are thinking. But what you're doing is taking away what you're saying you're trying to preserve. I think you should think about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comment?
This doesn't have to do with the motocross, fine. This question's gonna be for Ron. Sure. Just about the wellness center. I think it was probably, two meetings ago, I think it was determined that the wellness center is not an inn. And that the recreation building was denied.
Yeah, but we're talking about the water gap.
The existing one.
Yes.
The old country club.
Yes, it was, there was a search done. The administrative search and the zoning officer determined that it was not an inn, that it was a rehab facility. And has filed an enforcement notice. And that matter will now be on a zoning hearing board for decision. Same as what happened with the back nine. The enforcement notice was issued, and then there was a hearing before the zoning board who decided what they decided. So this will happen the same.
So it's gonna go through an appeal or whatever?
Well, there'll be a zoning board hearing in that matter on October 14th.
Okay. Now that doesn't change the operations of what's there existing now.
Well, if a decision comes down to say that they are a rehab facility and they're not an inn, then the supervisors have to determine, will they want to do the same thing as they did with Back Nine? Do they want to file for an injunction to shut it down because it's illegal under the law as it stands? That'll be their call.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Hello, my name is Elisa Byrne. And I actually just wanted to comment on one of my neighbors, Tammy Booth. So when we opened the Back Nine, we had approached, contrary to popular belief. We have done nothing different, Tammy, since we opened until now, except for voluntarily enter into a agreement with the environmental services for an NPDES permit. We did that for 18 acres. The track is on 1 acre. So before we opened the track, we spoke freely with the township, with the zoning officer, and with most of our neighbors. The 77 neighbors that live on our property, we spoke with all of them. We didn't speak with the Booths because we didn't know they existed. We had never seen them. We cannot see their property. We don't travel up that way past our entrance. But when we were told by Robert Levenheim that there was a family that was affected by the noise and that wasn't thrilled with what we had done on our very own property that they used for a very long time. They hunted there, they poached off of our property, they used it as their backyard. They had an illegal shooting range. When we were told that they were inconvenienced, I personally changed our hours without ever having met them. I too once had small children, I didn't know who they were, but I changed our hours and we reduced it to something that we felt was reasonable. 3 days a week, 1 weekday from noon until 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I consider that to be very reasonable. We never laid eyes on these folks, but we were told from the township, because we had a lot of communication with the township. We were given a heads up. Robert Levenheim directly told us, go up there and win her over. The guy, Jim, he's cool. He said he was going to throw a bench out and watch. He said his wife might be a problem. And a problem she has been, because she has been the one that has approached my family in a very aggressive and threatening manner. Her husband, Jim, followed me to Dick's Sporting Goods, walked around the store, and they have harassed us. My children and I had never gone up there until the one day. We do have a video, which I will post on my Instagram, Back9MX. Please give us a follow. You can watch all of our timeline, all of our correspondence we've had with this township. We're going to post it all. But Tammy, feel free to take a look at the video, which Ron has seen. I don't know if Michael has seen it. I think we emailed it to you, where Jim Booth was calling my children the R word and Oliver harassing us. So just to clarify, we never, ever had an issue with any of our neighbors. We really didn't, and we don't. But the problem is that while I was standing here one evening, everybody saw on the Zoom, Tammy Booth called in and called me a derogatory term. So when she comes on here and does this tit for tat thing, I'm right here. I don't want to argue with anybody. And furthermore, I wanted to accommodate the needs of the whole township, including our neighbors. We thought about our neighbors. We went up there, we asked them what to do, and we were met with a lot of hostility. And unfortunately, that's just not something that we're choosing to reciprocate. We did do everything by the book that we thought was best for everyone in our area. And I will wrap it up out of respect for your new rule. But we have 77 families that are very happy and grateful how we run our neighborhood and what we offer to this community. So we offer affordable housing. We offer a place where people can enjoy green space. We have plenty of parking. We have nature trails, and we have a tight-knit community. Katie said it best, when there's a problem, you don't need to worry because people show up. And all we wanted to do was extend our backyard to where there was a need in a larger moto community. There's a bigger need. Dr. Sportelli is dialed. He is a brilliant, brilliant man who rides motocross. His family rides, he rides. They frequented our establishment And I felt very proud to have individuals that are highly accomplished in other areas. This is something that moto people do all over the country, and you see Paul. When we started doing this, we went to a local business. We went to the plumbing supply company. Paul showed up, got in the ditches and helped us, and we met people. We met people that live in Smithfield Township that wanted to partake in what we had to offer. So I just want to ask you to reconsider the fact that all we ever did after Ken Wolf told me I could operate 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, that's a fact. He told me that. Your zoning officer, your former zoning officer told me multiple times that I was well within my rights. And you know what I chose to do? I chose to be moderate about it, considerate about it. I chose to do it in a way that I felt was very, very reasonable. So for us to be called unreasonable and to be told that we're doing all these things and we're so disruptive and we're this and we're aggressive, 3 days a week is all I ask for my children and for other people's children. And you guys aren't willing to hear us. You are willing to spend all this money so that what? You could offer us a day and a half. You could offer us a day where you guys are going to sit in my backyard. You could offer us all these things. Guess what? We're now tethered here. We want to ride all the time, you know, and like there is something to be said for compromise, and you guys are falling short. You seem reasonable. You seem to be okay with what we're doing, but yet we're not allowed to do it. So 3 days a week, Tammy Booth, I don't think that was very unreasonable, and the name calling and all that, very one-sided. Thank you.
I would just like to reply one more time to another lie she told. I encourage you all to go on that film that she made of me.
No, we're not doing, not.
She had her 3 minutes.
Correct. Yes, so everyone's good. Okay. Anyone else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Alberto, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're adjourned, 8:15.
The harassment
Thank
goes
you.
a lot farther than you think. and
Please
it's
bring back 9 MX, please. Bring it back.
Back nine.
Way